Hey everyone, welcome back to On the Roll with Matt. Today I want to talk about self regulation, personal responsibility, and the important difference between being a victim and living in victimhood. A victim is someone who has experienced real harm. Victimhood begins when that harm becomes an identity, an explanation for every reaction, and a reason to surrender responsibility for moving forward. That distinction matters. People experience abuse, betrayal, discrimination, grief, trauma, neglect, and loss. Those experiences should never be mocked, minimized, or dismissed. People who have been harmed deserve compassion, safety, support, justice, and meaningful opportunities to heal. But compassion should help people move toward freedom. It should not convince them that they are permanently powerless. There is a difference between acknowledging a wound and giving it authority over the rest of your life. There is a difference between asking for support and demanding that everyone around you manage your emotional world. There is a difference between a legitimate boundary and an attempt to control every person, conversation, and environment. Our culture increasingly treats emotional discomfort as proof of wrongdoing. We confuse disagreement with hatred, correction with cruelty, and being triggered with being right. But being triggered does not automatically mean another person has done something wrong. A trigger may reveal trauma, fear, grief, insecurity, or a boundary that needs attention. It may also reveal an area where we need greater maturity, self awareness, and self control. A trigger is a signal, it is not a command. An emotion is real, but it is not always an accurate interpretation of what is happening. Self regulation means creating space between what we feel and what we choose to do. It means pausing before reacting. It means asking, what is actually happening here? Am I responding to the present moment, or am I reacting from something unresolved in my past? Many of us did not choose the wounds we carry, but we remain responsible for what we do with them. Pain may explain a reaction, but it does not excuse harmful behavior. Trauma may explain why something affects us deeply, but it does not give us permission to control, manipulate, punish, or mistreat others. Our wounds deserve care. Our character still requires accountability. Speaking as a disabled man, I also want to distinguish between necessary accommodation and emotional control. Accessibility matters. A wheelchair ramp is not special treatment. An accessible washroom is not an unreasonable demand. Removing physical barriers allows people to participate with dignity. But my wheelchair needing a ramp does not mean the world must reorganize itself around every emotion I experience. My body may have limitations. My character still has responsibilities. My disability affects how I move through the world, but it does not remove my responsibility for my attitude, my words, my choices, or how I treat people. Living with disability has shown me how much of life is outside my control. I cannot control every barrier, limitation, disappointment, or physical struggle, but I can continue working on my response. That is not pretending life is easy. It is refusing to surrender the areas where choice is still possible. The world cannot become quiet enough, agreeable enough, or perfectly worded enough to protect every person from discomfort. If my peace depends on everyone around me changing their beliefs, language, tone, and personality, then my peace is controlled by circumstances I cannot manage. That is not freedom. Self regulation gives ownership back to us. It allows us to say, I may not control what another person does, but I can choose how I respond. I may not control every trigger, but I can examine what it is revealing. I may not be responsible for what happened to me, but I am responsible for the direction I choose from here. That is not condemnation. That is hope. Accountability is not the enemy of compassion. Accountability is compassion that believes a better future is possible. Compassion says, your pain matters. Accountability says, your choices still matter. Compassion says, what happened to you was wrong. Accountability says, what happens next cannot be surrendered entirely to what happened before. We need both. Compassion without accountability can quietly reinforce helplessness. Accountability without compassion can become cold and destructive. Together, they create a pathway toward healing. For me, this also connects deeply to my Christian faith and the practice of obedience. Not obedience rooted in shame or control, but obedience rooted in surrender. It means choosing what is right when my emotions are loud. It means allowing God to shape my reactions, speech, attitude, and character instead of treating every feeling as an instruction. Self control is not proven when nothing bothers us. Grace is not proven when everyone agrees with us. Character is revealed when we are challenged, disappointed, corrected, misunderstood, or triggered. So we learn to pause. We learn to name what is happening without immediately blaming someone else. Instead of saying, you made me feel this way, we can say, this brought something up in me, and I need to understand it. We learn the difference between boundaries and control. A boundary says, "This is what I will do to protect my well being." Control says, "You must change so I never feel uncomfortable." We seek support through counseling, recovery communities, trusted friends, sponsors, mentors, pastoral care, prayer, and professional treatment when needed. Healing is not weakness. Healing takes courage, humility, patience, and work. You can be wounded and still be responsible. You can be triggered and still be kind. You can need support and still participate in your own healing. You can acknowledge what happened without allowing it to define what happens next. Being a victim means something happened to you. Living in victimhood means it continues ruling your identity, relationships, reactions, and future. Your wounds deserve compassion. They do not deserve a throne. Real strength is not pretending we were never hurt. Real strength is refusing to let what hurt us become the permanent ruler of our lives. Freedom does not begin when everyone around us changes. Freedom begins when we stop giving everything outside of us complete authority over what is happening within us. This is On the Roll with Matt. Let's keep choosing healing over resentment, responsibility over helplessness, obedience over impulse, and freedom over victimhood, one day at a time.